Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. I'd really love that. If you're returning, how you doing? Um, we're going to talk about a few things and then we'll get into the rest of the videos. Okay. The first thing that we're going to be talking about is things that would be wise for you to know and to be informed about while you are using your rights and your civic duty. Okay? So, the first thing is the governor of Michigan used to work for Soros. Newsom is Pelosi's nephew. Adam Schiff's sister is married to one of Soros' sons. John Kerry's daughter is married to Mullah, and that's M-U-L-L-A-H, his son in Iran. Hillary's daughter, Chelsea, is married to a Soros nephew. ABC News executive director Ian Cameron is married to Susan Rice, Obama's former national security advisor. CBS president David Rhodes is the brother of Ben Rhodes, who was 44's deputy's national security advisor for strategic communications. ABC's news correspondent Claire Shipman is married to Jay Carney, who is a former 44 White House press secretary. ABC News and Univision reporter Matthew Jaffe, Jaffe, is married to Katie Hogan, who is 44's former deputy press secretary. ABC President Ben Sherwood is the brother of Elizabeth Sherwood, who is 44's former special advisor. And CNN VP Virginia Mosley is married to Tom Nides, N-I-D-E-S, former Clinton deputy secretary. Now, this is what you call a stacked deck. Like if you were to look at a deck of cards, okay, and that deck of cards is stacked against you and your odds of winning your hand, okay? So if you had a hunch that the news media is somewhat rigged and you couldn't put your finger on it, this might help you solve the puzzle. So if you just had this gut feeling that you were not going to win that hand, okay, that means that it is a stacked deck, okay? Now this is coming from somebody who was born and raised in Atlantic City. That's why I use that that analogy when it comes to a stacked deck, okay? You know that you're not going to win that hand, that the house is going to win the hand because it is a stacked deck. Now, you know why. No one is investigating anything, okay? They all have their hands in the cookie jar, okay? It's like the toddler getting to the cookie jar, okay? You might remember James Comey, who investigated the email scandal with Hillary and the Clinton Foundation and made a final decision to not recommend prosecution by the DOJ, all right? And it turns out that the foundation was audited by the law firm DLA Piper. One of the executives there was in charge of the foundation audit. Who was it? It was Peter Comey, who is James Comey's brother. Peter Comey had an executive position with the Washington firm that did the audit of the foundation in 2015. Now, Peter Comey was officially DLA Piper's Senior Director of Real Estate Operations for the Americas in 2015 when the foundation scandals first broke, if you remember that, and Hillary was preparing for her presidential campaign, okay? And this is when, like, everybody kept saying that they heard her on a hot mic saying if he wins we all hang, that type of thing, okay? That's when all that comes into play, okay? And not only was DLA Piper, the firm where Comey's brother worked, involved in the audit of the Clinton Foundation, but according to the foundation's donor records, DLA Piper was also given between $50,000 and $100,000 to the foundation, but it gets even cozier, right? DLA Piper executive Douglas Mhof, you know who he is. He's married to Heels Up. He is taking an extended leave of absence from the firm. Why? Now you know why, because he is the first gentleman as of right now, trying to also now become, okay? Is this a strange coincidence? No, it is not a coincidence, okay? Amazing if it is a coincidence, but it's not. You can't make this up. It's another example of the swamp. And if it were anything were to get any worse, this family tree, if you will, I mean, your head would spin, pea soup would come out. I mean, it would be a whole, you know, exorcism type thing. The swamp is that deep. Dominion serves 40% of the U.S. market. It is in 30 states. Texas actually put a rejection on it. Admiral Peter Neffinger, he was on 46's transition team. Neffinger was the president of the board of SmartMatic. SmartMatic, another machine supplier, entered into an agreement with Dominion in 2009. SmartMatic counted votes in Venezuela. SmartMatic is connected to the Philippines as well, with what happened there. SmartMatic is run by Lord Malik Brown, who works for Soros. They are lifelong friends. This Brown, Malik Brown, chairs the boards of a number of nonprofit boards, including the Open Society Foundation. He chairs the Center for Global Development, Open Society Course, which is owned by Soros. SmartMatic partnered with DLA Piper Global. Mhof works for DLA Piper Global. Okay? Mhof is Heels Up's husband, who owns Dominion. Blum, or Bloom, however you want to say it, BLUM Capital Partners LP. Who is on the board for that company? Richard Blum, whatever. Richard Blum is Dianne Feinstein's husband. Pelosi's husband is also a major investor. An aide to Pelosi, whose name is Nadim El-Shami, was hired by Dominion. And it goes on and on and on. Now, Dominion is listed on the Clinton Foundation website. It's also listed as a $25,000 to $50,000 donor to the foundation in 2014 by the Washington Post. Georgia Governor Kemp used Dominion after Texas and Florida rejected them. Dominion has a lobbyist named by Jared Thomas. Jared was Governor Brian Kemp's chief of staff and press secretary from 12 to 15. Now, remember this, okay, that the Feinstein, Kavanaugh, Soros connections to understand this next piece of info that I'm going to give you. Deborah Catz, Christine Ford's lawyer, the one that went after Kavanaugh, worked for Soros at the Open Society Foundation. Catz also worked at Project on Government Oversight, also known as POGO. POGO is funded by Soros Open Society Foundation. POGO is also the co-signer of the letter that Feinstein presented at Kavanaugh's nomination. Harris did not prosecute One West Bank for their fraud, like she puts herself up on a pedestal to say that she did, when she had authority. Why? Because Soros owned One West Bank. So now you know why a woman who placed 7th in her own state when running for president is now VP and now the Dems nominee after overthrowing Joey. Okay? I hope this all makes sense, because birds of a feather flock together, and this is a dirty bird. They're all fucking dirty. On to the next thing. Okay, so here's an email from a community member, and she put in some screenshots that I'm going to throw up for you, but I'm going to read them to you because the letters are really small. She said, the mine and weather issue isn't the first time, in my opinion, that they have tried to do something, okay? She said, did you know that Kentucky is an oil and natural gas producer? Yes, I did know that. She said back in December of 2021, an F4, and that's tornado talk, F4, hit the southwestern Kentucky near some of the locations that have the oil. Exxon owns one of the deepest wells here in Kentucky. During that run of tornadoes that hit a couple of states, Kentucky had the highest loss. We had 80 people out of 88 that perished. A lot of people are not big fans of the wells in Kentucky, so it makes me wonder if this is a similar situation as North Carolina. You know, I don't know. I mean, it could be something. Let's look at what you sent. So it says here, and I'm putting it up on the screen so you can see what I'm reading. It says oil deposits are found in many parts of Kentucky, including Eastern Kentucky. Is the majority of the state's natural gas production comes from Eastern Kentucky counties. The Devonian, D-O-V-O-N-I-A-N, black shale in Eastern Kentucky is the primary source of natural gas. Western Kentucky, the Berea, B-E-R-E-A, sand in Lawrence and Greenup counties is the source of increasing oil production. There is also an estimated 3.4 billion barrels of heavy oil in Western Kentucky tar sands. South Central Kentucky. The first oil boom in Kentucky occurred after the Civil War in this region. Oil is produced from, okay, so oil is produced from Ordovician limestones and dolomites. Henderson, Union, Lee, and Leslie counties. These counties are the centers of oil production in Kentucky. Other oil and gas related facts about Kentucky include the first commercial oil well in Kentucky was the Beatty well in McCreary County, which was drilled in 1818. The deepest well in Kentucky is Exxon number 1, Duncan in Webster County, which is 15,200 feet deep. More than 185,000 known wells have been drilled in Kentucky for oil and gas production, the average depth of oil and gas wells drilled in Kentucky is less than 1,500 feet. Okay, so here are some pictures that were sent in by a community member, and he said the hits just keep on coming. Shake and quake, no kidding, especially when it comes for these earthquakes. He said watch for up to 4 of these in the next 7 to 14 days. Wow, all right.
You're going to want to sit down for this. I'm being so serious right now. Everything's alleged. Okay. DCS is now coming in after the Red Cross pulled out of Western North Carolina, and closed shelters. They're now swooping in and saying that if they can't provide shelter for their children, they're taking their children from them. Do you understand? They literally just started, they've already closed 3 shelters and decided that they were no longer needed there. How much money did you guys donate to them again? Now, after they have closed 3 shelters, leaving hundreds and soon to be thousands of people with nowhere to go, the government swooping in and saying, we're going to take your children if you cannot provide safe shelter for them. Allegedly. God help us. This is really bad. This is really bad because people are smart. They know what's at stake. Listen, people understand we have to keep cool for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? We're mountain people. Everybody thinks we're dumb, but we're not. But you can take their livelihood, you can take their homes, you can take their belongings, you can take their prospects for the future, their businesses, their history, their farms. But when you start taking the children, and it just seems a little bit too good to be true that the place where all this is happening is places that are red states, hillbilly red states, where they know more than likely how they feel about government and how those things don't end well, and how if we're red states, especially these states, you don't even have to have permits or conceal, you know what I'm saying? So they know what they're doing. Oh, God help us. It's the 29th. It's noon. It's noon Eastern. God help.
You know, you wouldn't think that it could get any freaking worse for the people in Western North Carolina, but guess what? The government said, hold my beer. So I was tagged in those videos yesterday where they were talking about DCS coming in and threatening to take these children from their parents because they don't have adequate housing. So I had to do my due diligence because I don't want to spread misinformation. So I got a hold of my family and I got a hold of friends that live in that area, in Yancey, in Spruce Pine, up in Burnsville. And I asked them, I said, please, for the love of God, tell me that this is not true. It's freaking true. So I'll give you one instance that I know of that my friend saw with her own eyes. Small trailer park, okay, in Spruce Pine. Looks like it did day one, all this happened. Nothing's been done. Nobody's been there to help these people clean up, okay? My friend and her community are doing everything they possibly freaking can to help these people. So she tells me that FEMA and Red Cross pull out of the area, right? Which is fine. They weren't doing anything anyways. They were just taking up space. But as soon as they pull out, DCS comes in and starts evaluating these parents. It starts telling these parents, if you don't get adequate housing, we're going to have to take your kids into state custody. DCS, explain to me how this is going to happen. Explain to me. Because every time we try to bring a tiny home, an RV, something for these people to live in, they get stopped. They're trying to make them have certain requirements. They're trying to give them restrictions. They're trying to make them get permits. Like, what in the hell? And then on top of that, explain, do you understand that that ground, that land is saturated? It's unstable. So you're very limited on where you can put, if we get anything for these people to live in. Where are we going to put it? So between the restrictions, the requirements, the permits, and then the freaking land not being stable, what are they supposed to do?
Well, here they come. Everybody's coming in. We're all going on strike.
Raise the booms up.
Raise them booms! Everybody raise them booms! Nobody's working and doing anything. So, sorry Asheville, we're here for you, but at the same time we're here for our families. So if we are not getting paid, we are not doing a single thing, we are not lifting a single hand. It has been 8 weeks, we have not gotten a single penny. Some of us are sleeping in our trucks and in our vehicles because they won't even release the per diem at least for us to cover our housing. So we are putting our booms up all together, and none of us will be working until some type of money is paid to us. Enough is enough. Póntelo para arriba, para arriba. Nadie va a trabajar. Si no pagan, nadie va a trabajar. Póntelo para arriba.
I was going to keep this off the internet, but I guess I changed my mind. Because after seeing 2 other creators that I follow come forward with the same experience, I just felt like you guys deserve to know. Let me first start off with saying, I do not care who you vote for. I despise posting anything political because you just can't do it anymore without people coming for you. People don't respect that everyone has different opinions, and it just sucks. But I don't care who you vote for. I love you regardless, and I feel like I don't have the right to tell you how you should vote or what you should believe in. I attended the Donald Trump rally a couple days ago in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I went live at it, and it's just so coincidental that the very next day I get an email, and it is a management company that is looking for influencers to attend the Kamala Harris rally a couple days before the election. They're looking for people who can essentially say that they supported the other side and they've switched. Looking for you to post content, a certain amount of videos on TikTok, and some vlog-like stories on the other platform. They're paying all travel expenses for you and a friend and a flat rate fee. And morally, I could just never. I can never go and support someone that I, myself, cannot stand behind. For shits and giggles, my husband was like, just put a number out there that you know they would never accept. Y'all, I straight up replied and I said, for this type of collaboration, and I can put the email at the end of this video. I said, for this type of collaboration, it would require for all my expenses to be paid for travel for me and a friend, obviously, food, hotel, travel, plus $50,000. And it was obviously a joke because who the hell would pay me $50,000 to attend a rally? But I was sadly mistaken when I got a response. It said, that sounds great. I'm sorry. Y'all do know that part of North Carolina just got washed away and they have no homes? And not to mention, people are dying in other places, and you're going to pay me $50,000 to attend a rally for you and promote you on TikTok? My blood was boiling. And I know some of y'all are going to say, you're crazy. You should have done it. You should have done it. You should have done it. $50,000 is a lot of money to me. Don't get me wrong. But it just doesn't sit right with me. And I don't like it. I'm no longer going to keep quiet about how I feel and what I believe. And if that causes some of you to dislike me and unfollow me, then I'm so sorry. I respect you and I love you anyways. The amount of people that I follow that despise Donald Trump, but guess what? I just keep scrolling. Because guess what? I still love their content. And I respect you because you're allowed to feel how you want to feel. Some people aren't that mature. And that's okay. Just had to tell you guys that, because all of these celebrities and people that you see at these rallies secretly voting for the other side, but to your face. That's all I'm going to say. Whether you're red or blue or you're indecisive, you need to go out and vote. I don't care what side you're on, but this election is important and you need to go out and vote. And if you don't go out and vote because you just don't know what to do, then you're essentially giving the vote to the other side that you don't agree with the most. I tell all of my friends, choose your shitty. Because at the end of the day, we may have 2 shitty candidates. It doesn't matter. Choose your shitty. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Just pause to read. Have a good night.
I don't really know who Mark Cuban is, and I don't really give a shit. But I am interested in what his definition of strength and intelligence is when it comes to women. Because he seems to be an authority on that subject. And he says there's no strong, intelligent women surrounding Trump. Guess you haven't met me yet, buddy. Huh? Because it takes a lot of balls to come out and support the anti-war machine. And you know it. Everyone else is pandering on the left. In my little Hollywood world, everybody over there is following that great sheep narrative for the great leap forward. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, all of my left behind liberal friends, I'm still a lifelong liberal. Go research it. Understand what's happening on the left. And if you want to attack our intelligence and say that we aren't smart enough because we follow Donald Trump, maybe you need to recognize that some of us did our research. And that's why we left the left. Why we're not sitting. All these hippies are moving over and supporting Trump. That's right, I'm wearing a MAGA hat. That means make America great again. What is so toxic about making anything great? How nihilistic has society become that you will listen to the people on the left trying to lead you into complete war and destruction and darkness? And you want to attack our intellect because we're supporting the sunshine and freedom and love? Shame on you. I don't know who you are, buddy, but you are not thinking about my children when you make comments like that. And don't talk about the moms of America supporting Trump because we know what's up. Bad move. I'm Dre Mateo. I support Donald Trump like my life depends on it and my kids' lives. Big Daddy T, 2024. Let's fucking go.
Everyday people, some people are not understanding is basic programming. There's basic programming in the military. There's basic programming coming from narcissist. If you've ever had a narcissist in your life, you know that there's some things that you will not be able to push or budge with that narcissist because they could get their way, right? No matter what you do, no matter what you say, it will always be your fault. They will never take responsibility. They will never take accountability. Their ego is too big to ever admit their wrongs. They take that shit to the grave. Okay? Survivors. Real ones. I'm talking to you. These next few weeks, they gunning for the nation. These next few weeks, there is an auction for a lot of survivors that are speaking out. If you are speaking out, this is the time. Do not stop. Go full force. This is the time. If you have connections and you see connections for people who are bigger than what you see from these survivors that are coming out, the real victims, we don't have that much pull.